No-TELL MOTEL is a murder mystery actual play brought to you by Game Master Monday. This story includes themes of deception, toxic relationships, secrets, PTSD, and of course, murder. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Game Master Monday, the podcast where we play a new one-shot in a new system with a new cast every episode. I'm Taz, the newest narrator, producer, and baby sound designer here at Game Master Monday, and today I am playing the solo TTRPG No-TELL MOTEL by Bannerless Games. This is my first time playing No-TELL MOTEL, so we will be learning together. I've got here a deck of cards, one 6-sided die, a hotel ledger, and a dream. So, let's get started. There's a long stretch of idle highway, surrounded by an unexciting rocky terrain on either side. About 2 miles back on the left sits a roadside diner, the kind that has one of those retro-futuristic signs on it that reads, Penny's Pie House. Only a handful of cars and a couple of semis in the lot. Way ahead in the distance, I can start to make out a mountainous horizon, but I'm not going that far. The road winds on, but I am pulling into a curvy little gravel driveway that leads to a small parking lot. I pass the familiar large metal sign with bold words in yellow and red that read, the Stellar Motel, with the word vacancy blinking harshly against the pastel blues and purples of the setting night sky. There are 7 small cottage-style apartments connected in a bit of a semicircle around the lot, and then a slightly larger disconnected one with letters engraved above a Dutch door that says, concierge. That's where I stay. I'm Leni, one of 2 concierges here at the middle-of-nowhere Stellar Motel. Although concierge is a bit of a stretch considering how far from luxury we are, and considering I'm also housekeeping, stocking, accounting, night manager, the list goes on and on. The motel is small, and not usually crazy busy. It gets eerily quiet most nights, the kind of quiet that still unnerves me 2 years in. My coworker Katie and I share the employee apartment, that 8th slightly larger cottage, but she's been spending a lot of her time off at her boyfriend's recently, so more time for me to listen to the creaks and howls of this place. I back into a spot closest to my cottage and catch a glimpse of myself in the rearview mirror as I put it in park and linger for a second longer than needed. My short curly hair looked like it was hit by a tornado thanks to driving with the windows down. That's what I get for still not fixing the AC in my car. Light brown eyes, way too tired for a 22-year-old. Freckles that I was never able to explain. No one on either side of my Mediterranean family sharing them with me. I break away from my reflection, beginning to step out of my car and toward the worn and neglected building that's been my home ever since I hit the road in my beat-up old Civic and stumbled upon this place 18 hours into the drive. And like myself, the guests we get here are usually running from something or don't want to be found. As soon as I'm out of my car, Katie rushes up to me in a way she hasn't before. She's trembling, and her eyes are red with dark circles around them, like even in the plentiful downtime we get, she didn't get any rest. She's wearing her overnight bag over her shoulder, indicating that she's been waiting for me and heading out. This is where the mechanics of the game begin. The cards I draw will help Katie explain what happened last night, and maybe who was here, depending on what she can remember. "You're late," she says accusingly, her foot tapping with impatience. I pull out my phone to check the time. 8:03. By 3 minutes, I stopped to get gas. I look around and notice caution tape across the door of cottage 7. What's that? Katie, what happened? Her voice was soft, hesitant. It was a normal night, you know? A few people stopped in here and there. I was painting my nails and watching Yellow Jackets. How many people checked in? Oh, I don't know. 4? Yeah, 4. The cards tell me the 4 guests were the King of Hearts, which is the Professor. Let's name them. The game doesn't tell us to name them, but I like names. Let's name him Bob Hawkins. Okay? The Ace of Hearts, the Veteran. I'm gonna call him Richie Kane. Jack of Spades, that is the Mob Enforcer. We're gonna call him Howie. No last name. He pays in cash. And then finally we have the Jack of Clubs. That is the Runaway. They checked in under the name Riley Smith, but offered no ID. The next round of cards I pull will tell me what these guests were up to. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Nothing that I noticed. Mr. Hawkins, the professor, was sitting up on the roof of his cottage for a while, drinking some Miller Lights and looking up at the stars, kind of out into the distance. But he wasn't bothering anybody, he wasn't being belligerent, he was just hanging out, so, I let him go. Richie. Actually, now that I think about it, there was a bit of a conflict between Richie, the veteran, and Howie, the mob enforcer. They were in cottages next to each other, and I heard them talking outside of their rooms. Not quite shouting, but I could tell it was nothing good. And there was Riley. Most of the night they were quiet. Actually, I fell asleep at some point after midnight, but woke up around 2 a.m. and saw their light turned on and bodies moving inside. But I didn't pry. I mean, we're a motel. Our guests have guests. It's kind of our deal. I laid back down and fell asleep until morning. Okay, so what happened in the morning? What's behind the caution tape, Kate? Who was in room 7? Okay, now we have one last layer of cards to lay onto our guest piles. Each of these piles will be added up. Whichever is closest to 21, well, you'll see. 10 of hearts, 3 of clubs, 6 of hearts, 9 of hearts. The professor. 5, 3, 10. Wow, that's already so close. The veteran. 5, 3, 8. The mob enforcer. 10, 6, 2. The runaway. 6, 9, 7. Checkout came around and it was normal. I mean, I give people extra time when the rooms aren't filled. when Cottage 7 still hadn't dropped off the room key by the time I was done cleaning and changing sheets in the other rooms. I went to check on them. I knocked. No one answered. So I opened the door and I saw them. Riley Smith, the runaway, on the floor next to the bed, bruises around her neck. Before I could respond, a car pulls up and Katie hops in. I gotta get out of here for a little bit, Leni. Seeing something like that does something to a person. Cover for me, please. And so my shift begins. A cool wind sends a chill down my back as I lock room 7 from the outside and send a text to Jocelyn, the owner, that she needs to send in professional cleaners. The cops came and took the body, but the room is still a mess with Riley's belongings strewn around and toppled decor, including a broken lamp on the floor. Shattered pieces tried to pull me into darker corners of my mind, my heart in my stomach as I swallowed the sight. I'm sure Sal's not dealing with that. I head back to my cottage, drop the needle on the latest Metric album, and realize Katie never told me what came of the investigation. So I type out a quick text. Hey, so what did the cops say about Riley? Any suspects? 3 chat bubbles right away. They called it an accidental overdose. An overdose? That can't be right. You said there were bruises around her neck. Yeah, but to the cops, she's just another runaway. You know they don't care. I push my phone into a tangle of blankets on my couch and instinctively bite my tongue, holding back an anger starting to spread through me. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. I know this all too well. But I do. And Riley deserves to have someone care enough to find out what really went down. If that person is me, so be it. The least I can do is be a little more vigilant and not mind my business. I take a deep inhale through my nose, 8 full seconds, like those mindfulness Instagram reels tell me to do, and settle into my couch, letting that defensiveness melt away as I pull my frizzy curls into a half pony and get ready for the bookings to begin. I lay out 6 cards. These are my available rooms for the night, as 7 is out of service. I roll a d6 to learn how many of these rooms will be filled this evening, draw my guests, and add them to my ledger. It's 8:30 p.m. when I first see a set of headlights turning into the parking lot. A woman with dark shoulder-length hair, slacks, and a fitted suit jacket steps out, a briefcase. No extra bags. The Queen of Spades. Casey McIntyre, room for 1. She slides me her card without breaking eye contact. I notice a work ID clipped to her jacket pocket. The word of the shadow scrawled in bold print beneath her name. A magazine reporter. I keep a straight face and pretend not to notice as I slide her card, back to her with a key for room 1. She gives me a singular nod and a smooth thanks before turning and walking away. An hour passes before I hear footsteps approaching my service window. I look up to see a large man with dark eyes shadowed by the rim of a logoless baseball cap. Richie Caden, the veteran. Polite, clean cut, always looking over his shoulder like he's training, or maybe looking for someone. He comes here a lot. He was here last night. I put him in room 3 and watched him step in, eyeing up the other rooms before shutting the door behind him. I'm just about to shut my service door for the night when I hear the rumble of an engine and tires on pavement. It's just before midnight when a well-dressed man in a dark suit steps out of a car way too nice for this $75 a night motel. The movie star. He saunters towards me, eyes bright and smile charming. Jacket swung over his shoulder like he's ready for his photo op. He hands me his ID and I recognize his name. Dylan Ross. I've seen him in a couple indie films. He's up and coming. Really starting to make a name for himself. I wonder what he's doing all the way out here. I glance along the keys remaining on my board before choosing to put him in room 4, almost directly across from the concierge apartment. It's good to have a view. Check-ins may be scarce throughout the later hours of the night, but that doesn't mean my job is done. How could one relax when a body was found just across the lot the night before? I turn my record off and listen to the tick of the clock and the heavy gusts of wind outside. The wind is loud, but not as loud as the slam of a car door. I jump out of my chair and peek through the blinds. A shadowy figure walks towards room 1. That's the reporter's cottage. Interesting. I watch them knock on the door, always keeping their head down, not giving me any visual. The door opens and the guest steps in. Just before it closes, Casey sticks her head out, looking around. Her eyes stop on my window. I drop to the floor. She didn't see me, right? She couldn't have. All my lights are off. After a minute, when my heartbeat goes back to normal, I slowly lift myself up and look back at room 1. Door closed. Just the soft glow of a lamp barely illuminates the room inside. It's a bit quiet after that, until around 2 a.m. when I hear another car pull in. A man gets out, one I recognize immediately. Howie, the mob enforcer. He walks up to me, cash in hand, and asks for room 2. He doesn't know that I know he was here last night, and he was in room 2 then as well. Coincidence? It isn't long after his arrival that I hear some shouting from room 3 where veteran Richie is staying. Didn't Katie say he was yelling last night too? Accusing people of things? I start to brew myself some coffee. It's gonna be a night. I station myself up by the window and crack it just a touch, trying to listen a little harder. Still hard to make out over the wind, but
How could you?
escapes from behind the closed door. Or the now open door, I guess, as I see Howie exit from Richie's room. Wait, how did I miss him going in there? Do they know each other? Richie runs after him, pulling him by the cuff of his shirt. Howie spins around with pure anger in his eyes.
Get your hands off me, or else.
He pulls himself out of Richie's grasp and makes his way back to the room I assigned him. Richie stands outside, unmoving, for several minutes before making his way back in. I must have drifted off at some point because I wake with a start. An uneasy feeling creeping over me. I lift my head slowly to make sure I'm alone. I am. Thank God. I look at the clock. 4:37. I move to the window to peek out of the blinds once again, staring out into the dark silence. Even the hum of the crickets seems to have quieted. Just as I relax my shoulders and I'm ready to call it paranoia, I see something. Someone. Creeping slowly towards the front of Cottage 7. It's Dylan Ross. He makes his way to the front door, twisting the knob. It looks like he's muttering under his breath when he realizes it's locked, then tries peering through the window. I yelp, pulling hard at the curtain as I kick at a fucking mouse. God dang. I catch my breath, but by the time my eyes are back on Cottage 7, Dylan is gone. I question if he was ever even there to begin with. Fuck. The clock chirps as the hand reaches 5 a.m. Only 2 hours till sunrise now. I have to shake this off and get some shut-eye. This isn't over. I have a feeling it's barely even begun. "8 a.m. and time to reset for the day. I check out all of my guests, reshuffle the cards, and get started on cleaning the rooms. I write down all of my observations and thoughts about the shift before in my detective dossier. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, please just let me live. Howie and Richie both came back to stay the night after Riley Smith was found dead, and then had some sort of altercation with each other. Dylan was lurking around the cottage where Riley died. And that magazine lady, Casey, she had a guest and was also just being really strange. No motives yet that I know of, but everyone was acting a bit suspicious. I'm definitely keeping my guard up. As the sun begins to dip below the clouds, I make myself some dinner, set up my desk, and prepare for another night shift at the Stellar Motel. I roll my d6 to see how many of these rooms will get filled during the first part of the night. 2. Almost as soon as that vacancy light starts to blink, a little white car swoops in. Out steps a man in a matching white suit with sunglasses, despite the gloomy drizzle and a pep in his step. King of Diamonds, the televangelist.
Room for one?
He says as he approaches me. I grab the key for room 6 and hand it over as I enter his name into the guest list. Michael Rivera. And before the sun is fully set, one more guest checks in. A harsh-looking person in dark clothes who seems to never blink. Ace of Spades, the cultist. They pay in cash and give me a name I don't believe. Perry Winkle. Okay, then. I give them the key for room 3 and turn on the TV for some background noise as I settle into the night. Neither of these guests were here the past 2 nights, so I don't think too much of them. I made it through only 3 episodes of Wayward before I heard loud screaming outside, making me nearly fall out of my bed. Michael Rivera was screaming at Perry, who was practically on top of them in some sort of altercation. I ran out into the rain and pulled Perry off of him. I usually don't involve myself, but no one else is around. What else could I have done? "Hey!" I yell. "You two need to cut this out or get out of the Stellar Motel. This is not cool here." I roll a d6 to see if my involvement is productive. 1, which means no. Michael pushes me away and stands chest to chest with Perry.
Try it again.
Perry scoffs and turns away, but not before saying,
This isn't over yet.
I back up, not wanting to be touched again, and slowly make myself disappear as they do the same. What the fuck was that about? It's just after midnight when another visitor makes their way to the motel. It's an older gentleman, white beard, crooked tie, runs to the window with his jacket over his head, trying to avoid getting soaked. He hands me his card, and it reads, Bob Hawkins. Wait, where have I heard this before? Katie. The night everything happened, one of the guests was Bob Hawkins, King of Hearts, the professor. I pull the key for room 2 off the board and tell him to have a good night. Maybe this shift won't be as simple as I thought. I brave the weather to stand outside and smoke a cigarette. I need something to calm my nerves. I guess I'm less discreet than I'd like because the cultist, Periwinkle, so they call themselves, sees me from across the way and heads over.
Got a light?
They ask. I toss them my lighter without responding.
Sorry about that. The push. That guy Michael, he knew that kid, Riley. No coincidence he's here. Not in my books.
Wait, you heard about...
Small town, sweetheart. Nothing stays secret for too long around here.
They take a long drag, avoid my gaze. Wait, so that means you knew Riley too?
Knew Riley? I loved him. We were always together. Except the one night we weren't.
They throw their cigarette onto the ground and smush it beneath their shoe.
Thanks for the light.
They say before walking out of sight. My breath shakes up through me. Does everyone here know each other? Was that Riley's partner? And why were Perry and Michael fighting? And why did Michael think it was okay for him to put his hands on me? And why do I have more questions than answers now? My spiraling is interrupted by another car. This one parks right outside of room 2. Queen of Hearts, the recently divorced. I see a middle-aged woman rush out of her car and head into the room of Professor Bob, who is holding the door open for her. He makes eye contact with me, but quickly breaks it with a light slam of the door. In the silhouette of their shadows in the room's light, I can see him popping a bottle of champagne and pouring it into her glass. After putting out my soggy cigarette and heading back inside, I change into dry clothes, ruffle my hair with a t-shirt I found laying on the floor, cuddle back into the mess of blankets on the couch, and press play on Wayward. The kind of isolated self-care I need. Until middle of the night, when I hear a hushed conversation outside. I lift up the blinds to see the guy who pushed me, Michael, talking to a woman wearing a beige dress suit and familiar heels. She turns her head just enough I can catch her side profile in the glint of the moonlight. Casey McIntyre, the reporter. She's back. And it looks like they've been talking for a while. I can't believe I missed it. Maybe pulling the blankets over my head like a cave was a little too self-care for being on the clock. Oops. The rain has only gotten heavier, so I can only make out the occasional word, nothing substantial. Until Casey turns to head out. As she slips her notebook into her briefcase and steps further from Michael, his voice chases her.
They were always fighting over something. They never let them have their own life.
I grab for my dossier and jot that down before I forget. When I look back out and Michael is inside, I shift my attention next door where the professor and that woman I don't know were having drinks earlier. I can kind of see someone walking around, stumbling. Very drunk indeed. Looks like they had a fun night. I pull the curtain, click the light switch for no on the vacancy sign, and crawl back into my blanket cave. "8 a.m. rolls around. I check everyone out, reshuffle the cards, and spend the day jotting my observations down in what I am now officially referring to as my detective dossier. Bob Hawkins, the professor who was here the night Riley died, was back again. But he seemed to be here for a special friend, so maybe not suspicious. Michael and Perry were literally fighting, and both knew Riley, and Perry was maybe dating them. And if I understood the context of the conversation between Michael and Casey correctly, it seems like Perry and Riley were having money issues. Honestly, it seems like Michael and Perry are both suspicious. Why were they here? What do they know that I don't? The clock continues to tick. I slide my dossier into my tote and open my service window as I prepare for another night shift at the Stellar Motel. Another evening, another roll of my dice to see how many rooms fill in the first part of this shift. 5. Wow, that's a lot. Let's get into it. As the sky transforms from blues and whites to purples and blacks, the parking lot begins to fill. I can tell it's a Friday. Everybody's looking to get away. The first person to check in is... oh, the middle-aged woman from last night. The Queen of Hearts, aka the recently divorced. I find out her name is Sharon Wells. She has messy, unkempt hair and looks a bit tired. Or hungover, I'd guess. I noticed her ring finger has a line on it that's a little bit more pale than the rest of her tanned hand, like a ring has been recently removed. Well, guess that explains the motel action. I give her the key to room 1 and wave forward the next guest. It's a younger femme individual. In fact, I think I've seen her around. Maybe at one of the parties at the college town some miles away. Jack of Hearts, the high school salutatorian. Hey. I try to start a conversation, but she looks away. Okay then, all business. Keisha Franks, room 2. After she skitters away, well, if it isn't Howie, the mob enforcer, back again. He gazes at me with a knowing look. Heard, Howie. No need to speak. I got you. I slide him the key to room 3 and carry on. I see another car pull in and hurry to take a swig of my iced coffee while I have a spare moment. By the time the cup is back on my desk, an older woman, at least 65, with a gray bob and oversized scarf, is approaching me.
Good evening, lovely. I'm Serena Prince. I'd love to check into one of your vacancies this evening.
Finally, someone with charisma. Of course, I smile back.
Oh.
She gets this off-putting look on her face.
I can feel a tense energy here.
She looks around.
Is that caution tape?
She says, pointing her ring-stacked finger to cottage 7. Yeah, it sure is.
I'd love to stay there. I'm a psychic medium.
Queen of Clubs. Of course she is. I can't let you stay there, but the room right beside it is all yours. Enjoy. I slide her the key to room 6 and try not to roll my eyes. Almost midnight, and it's already been an active night. When one more guest walks up to my window, the Ace of Diamonds. Welcome back, Mr. Ross, I say to Dylan, the movie star from 2 nights ago. He winks at me and heads towards cottage 5. With every room full, it's not lost on me that a murderer could be looking into the same parking lot that I am. No rest for me tonight. I send a quick text to Kate. Hey, getting a little burnt out. Can you take day shift tomorrow? Sure thing, Len. All right, let's draw some number cards for these fine guests. A little after midnight, I see a car pull up to room 1. That's where Sharon Wells is, the divorcee who stayed with the professor last night. But the guy who walks up to her door is definitely not the professor. King of Spades, the light bulb man, a loud social fella I actually know. He comes to the Stellar pretty frequently, though I haven't seen him much lately. When she opens the door, they stand there for a while having a kind of intense chat. She looks a bit upset. Definitely a different vibe from the night before.
It didn't have to be like that.
I catch him say before walking back to his car.
Yeah, Kevin!
She yells after him.
Actually, it did!
As Kevin the lightbulb man drives away, Keisha, the salutatorian, steps out of her room and looks right at Sharon with her arms crossed and a raised eyebrow, conveying a whole lot without saying anything. Sharon puts a palm against her forehead, looking defeated.
I'll get it for you, Keisha, I promise.
Keisha looks like she's getting ready to get into it with Sharon, but instead just shakes her head and closes her mouth, looking over it. The way someone does when they've already said everything they have to say and just can't anymore.
It's being taken care of. Give me a couple more days.
Okay. Seems like Sharon is in hot water with Keisha. I wonder what that was about. Could this have anything to do with Riley? Before I can finish the thought, Howie steps outside too. Wow, party outside of the Stellar Motel, I guess. He's ranting and raving about Richie. Oh, he's going on and on about the argument they got into a couple nights ago. Keisha looks uncomfortable and Sharon starts walking towards me. Oh shit. Okay, yeah, I'm working here. The knock comes faster than I can slip on my shoes. Hey, hi, how can I help you?
The guy in room 3 is going on a whole tirade about how we gotta keep an eye out for some guy, Richie, who stays here sometimes. Is there something I need to know?
No. They're harmless, I think. I mean, I just work here. I walk up to Howie. Hey, Howie, how's it going? Listen, I think you're unnerving some of the guests. Do you think you could maybe keep it down a bit? Let's roll a d6 to see how that goes. A 2. Yay, that means I succeed. Howie looks at Keisha and Sharon, then back at me.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sorry about that. Just a little stressed this week. Please continue your night.
Everyone heads inside and I start walking back to the office when I hear a loud cracking sound. I swiftly turn my body in the direction of Serena Prince, the psychic, standing on the chair of her neighbor's porch, her leg through it. I rush over. Miss Prince, are you okay? What are you doing at room 5? I didn't assign you to this room. She pulls her leg out of the slats that she just pushed in, and I can see her leg is a bit scraped. She looks surprised to see me at first, but then rushes over, grabs my wrist, and hurries back towards the apartment with me. Miss Prince, what's going on?
I was doing a little bit of investigating on the room with the caution tape where I couldn't help but notice that's Dylan Ross in the room next to me.
Oh, great. A D-list celebrity stalker. Miss Prince, I have to respect the confidentiality of my clients.
No, dear, you don't understand. I know him. He grew up not far from me and was always getting into trouble, sneaking around, hiding things. I got a very negative energy from his room, and I just wanted to make sure he wasn't up to no good. But those chairs are in very, very poor condition.
I will certainly let the owner know.
It's just a bit odd that he's here in this town. He used to have a close friend around these parts, but they had a huge falling out and never spoke again. His mom told me all about it. Said she was worried about him. They were so close and then nothing.
Noted. But please, stay to your own room. I can't have you peeking through people's windows. I leave Serena behind to take a walk around the property when I smell something burning. An alarm starts blaring and I rush towards the sound when I see Keisha standing outside of her room with a small fire extinguisher. The rest of the guests run out as well to see what the problem is.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry. It's fine. Everything's fine. I was making a pizza and accidentally left the cardboard underneath it. Everything's good. Do not worry at all.
I believe her, but head over anyway just to make sure. Hey, Keisha, do you mind if I come in? Just to check out the room, make sure it's fine?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm usually so on top of things. I'm just a little stressed tonight.
I open some windows and help clear out a little bit of smoke, but the room itself is fine. No harm, no foul. But while I'm here alone with her... Hey, Keisha, I don't know if you remember me, but I think we met at a party in Casson Point last year.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I do remember you. You were quiet, but I remember I liked your curly hair. It's not as good as mine, but you stood out.
I instinctively brush a curl behind my ear. Oh, thanks. Yeah, if you're stressed and need someone to talk to, I saw you having an intense convo with your neighbor earlier. I'm a good listener, if you ever need to talk.
That was Sharon, my neighbor. She's going through some things, and I helped her out for a bit. But she owes me money. And she was supposed to have it a few days ago, but she keeps falling through. And I'm worried if I don't get what I'm owed soon, I'm not going to be able to pay for my last semester at Casson.
And she was supposed to get it from that guy who came by earlier tonight.
Yep. And it didn't happen. Listen, I feel bad for her. I really, really do. But I need my money. I know this is terrible, right? But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Well, I hope she gets her shit together soon. Thanks for confiding in me. It's kind of nice to have a friend to talk to around here.
Honestly, same. But yeah, thanks for listening. You're Leni, right?
You remembered.
Listen, if you ever need a friend, text me.
Thanks. I wasn't expecting such a heartfelt moment amidst the chaos, but that was nice. I leave Keisha's room to head back to the comfort of my own when I see Howie sitting in the passenger seat of a little white car. Howie's usually so low-key, I wonder what's gotten into him. I recognize this car, though, and look across the driver's seat to see Michael, the televangelist. I see them exchange something, but I can't tell what it is. Howie gets out of the car, nods at me in acknowledgement, and heads back into his room. Michael peels back off down the highway and onto the open road. I can't help but wonder what just went down in that car.
Oh, excuse me.
There's Miss Prince again, waving me down.
Hi, sweetie. I was wondering if I could get some clean sheets.
Yeah, of course. What happened to yours?
Oh, I was putting together some herbs and incense to start a little ritual, and it got a little messier than I thought. Usually I have a table to work with, but these rooms aren't very well set up for the type of medium work I do.
Sure, Miss Prince. I'll be right over. I don't even bother asking what the ritual was about. I supply Miss Prince with some fresh linens and lock my door for the night. Any other problems can wait until morning. And with that, night 3 ends. I check everyone out and reshuffle all of the cards back into the decks. Katie shows up to cover for me, and I take advantage of this opportunity to actually sleep for a few hours and then go get some lunch down the road at Penny's Pies. I sit at the counter and get a breakfast bowl and a slice of the pie of the day, which today is lemon meringue. I love lemons. Reminds me of my mom. Alex, the waiter, comes over to pour some more coffee into my mug.
Hey, Leni, you're looking a bit out of it. What's on your mind?
Just then, cool air finds its way around the diner as the doors swung open, and I notice Dylan Ross exit. Actually, that guy kinda is. He stayed at the motel a couple nights this week. Do you know anything about him?
Oh, don't go looking for trouble, Len. And by that I mean, don't go looking for him.
No, I'm not interested. Not my type, if you know what I mean. We make eye contact and laugh at that. I heard he knew the person who died a few nights ago, and I just think it's weird that he's been hanging around.
I mean, he used to come around more. He knew the person who died, and I just think it's weird he's back all of a sudden. I had seen them together before, Riley and Dylan, but they had a huge falling out a long time ago. A year, maybe more. Ever since, Riley started seeing that weird cultist friend of theirs. Partner? Whatever.
Really? So Dylan and Perry, they didn't like each other?
Didn't like each other? Were jealous of each other? I'm not too sure, but I don't think Perry much liked Riley hanging out with Dylan as much as they did. Even if the two of them were friends first.
Interesting. Thanks, Alex. Hey, can I get another slice of the lemon meringue to go? It's my favorite. I head back home and take advantage of Katie sticking around until night shift by updating my detective dossier. Sharon Wells, recently divorced, has been here 2 nights in a row, had a seemingly fun night with Professor Bob last night, but tonight had a deal gone bad with Kevin the lightbulb man and owes Keisha money. Something's off with her. But it doesn't seem to have anything to do with Riley. Yet. Keisha, the salutatorian, has some shit going down with Sharon, but seems to be out of the rest of the drama, as far as I can tell. Howie. Here. Again. That's 3 nights in just 4 days, including the night Riley died. Was ranting on and on about Richie, saying he was dangerous, and then made some quick car exchange with Michael, the televangelist. I don't know what his deal is, but there's no motive, so I'm just gonna have to keep an eye out, I guess. Serena Prince, the psychic. A little strange, but gave me some good insight on Dylan Ross. And Dylan, the movie star. Apparently an old friend of Riley's. Best friends, even. until Perry came into the picture and ended that relationship between them. I think I'm starting to put some pieces together. I close my notebook, say goodnight to Katie, who actually decides to just stay in her room for the night instead of driving all the way back to Tommy's. That way she can take on day shift again tomorrow. And open my window for service. This is night 4, and on every 4th night, I roll a d6 for something to happen. I rolled a 2. 2 means dirty laundry. Something's in the air. Maybe it's a full moon. Whatever the case, the gossip has an especially nasty edge tonight. All spades drawn have their motive values increased by 1. Oh, fun. Okay, cool. So let's roll our nightly d6 to see how many of these rooms get filled for the early part of tonight's shift. 1. So like opposite of last night. Okay, cool. I'm sitting at the desk, listening to Katie watch Yellow Jackets on the TV behind me, staring out onto the highway, counting the cars that pass by. Unlike last night, tonight is abnormally slow. It's like 10 o'clock before a single car turns into the drive and makes their way in. And out steps the ace of clubs, the cultist. Perry, as they call themselves, Winkle. They look incredibly out of it, like a zombie, barely awake but extremely on edge. They walk up to the window and slide through some cash.
7's still taped off, huh?
They ask. Yeah, you know what? I should message the owner again about that.
Yeah, you should.
I give them the key for room 1. Something tells me I want them as far away from 7 as possible. At first, everything is quiet. Kind of hard to stay awake on a night like this, if I'm being honest. But midnight comes around, and so does the King of Spades. The light bulb man, Kevin. He saunters up to me with that usual glimmer of light in his eyes. Hey, Len, long time no see. No see, actually, I saw you last night, you just didn't say hi. He laughs, I laugh, neither of us really know what we're laughing at. But I slide him the key for room 3 and close the service window. Then, to my surprise, I see the familiar car of the veteran pull up. Richie doesn't come up to my window, though. He goes and sits on the porch of Perry's room. Perry comes out, and they just sit there for a while, chatting like old friends. New friends? I don't know. They're talking at a low volume, and I can't make it out. Maybe I shouldn't have put Perry so far from myself. They sit outside chatting for has to be more than an hour. Then they both go inside. And as if a choreographed dance, Kevin gets his own visitor at just that moment. It's Sharon, the recently divorced. Oh my god, what a perfect pool. Wow. Okay, so I see Sharon go knock on Kevin's door. They stand there for a bit, chatting intensely. I don't hear much, but I see Kevin give her an envelope, and then Sharon hugs him before leaving. Oh my god, did I just witness a resolution of some kind? 2 more hours pass before I see Richie leave Perry's room and hop back into his car. I'm feeling a little feisty, a little bored, a little curious, and stop Richie before he pulls off. Hey Rich, haven't seen you in a couple days. How's it going? He doesn't look like he's in the mood to catch up, but Richie's been coming here pretty regularly the whole time I've had this gig, so he knows it would be weird if we didn't.
Hey, Leni.
Ooh, a full name kind of night. I see you, Richard. He tries to crack a smile, but it doesn't reach his eyes. I slide into the passenger side of his car. So, what's up with you and this cultist guy, Rich? Doesn't seem like your usual crowd. I don't like the way he looks at me when I say that, and suddenly I get this creeping memory of the night before, Howie warning his neighbors that Richie was dangerous.
Yeah, Len, that's really none of your concern. Don't you have a job to do?
Listen, Richie, friend to friend, I heard Perry and Riley were a thing. Do you know anything about that? Richie stares up at the roof of his car and takes a moment before turning back to me.
They got into a big fight the night they died. They're torn up about it. It's a mess. Misses them, wants them back, is furious. Someone did something to them. I've been through similar heartbreak, so I was trying to offer Perry some comfort from someone who gets it. That's all.
Oh. I'm sorry, Rich. I didn't know.
Well, now you do. I gotta get out of here. Places to be, people to see. You know the deal.
I get out of his car and watch as he speeds away. Perry and Riley got into a huge fight the night she died. That feels important. Once again, the sun rises, the guests check out, and I reshuffle all the cards into the deck. Katie takes over morning shift, so I get another chance to rest and update the detective dossier. Last night, I saw Kevin, the lightbulb guy, and Sharon, the divorcee, hug it out. I'm hoping that means she got her money, which means Keisha gets her money. And then I saw Perry and Richie. I got a terrible feeling about Richie. And learned something incredibly important about Perry. Perry saw Riley the night she died. And they fought. What does this mean? I have a suspicion, but I'm not 100% certain yet. I can't just start throwing out accusations, so I need more time. The day passes slowly. It's Sunday, which means 2 more shifts before my weekend. I really want to know what went down. It's eating me up inside. So I'm eager to start service tonight. Practically wiggling by the time the sky starts to darken and the vacancy sign blinks red. Katie goes out for the night, and I roll a d6 to see how many guests the Stellar Motel sees this evening. A nice, comfy 4. Right away, I see a sedan that has become all too familiar this week. Sharon Wells, the divorcee. She has this bright look on her face as she checks in. You know what? I love that for her. I slide her the key to room 1 and wish her a good night. Then, like clockwork, in rolls the cultist, Perry Winkle. They are looking worse for wear, but I mean, what else could I possibly expect from them during times like these? I hand them the key to room 4. An hour passes and... oh, it's Casey McIntyre, the reporter. I almost forgot about her. She smiles like she's on the verge of something big. I know the feeling. I pass her the key for room 6. And just before midnight, the last car of the night drives in. And I know tonight's gonna give me what I need when I see him. The movie star, Dylan Ross. I put him in room 3. I gaze out of my window into the dark, starry sky when I notice something rather odd. On top of Cottage 1, there's a body. It's Sharon. What is she doing up there? I walk over to take a closer look.
Sorry, I just needed some air.
You're so good. I'm just checking in. Be careful, okay?
Of course. Thanks.
I pull out a smoke of my own. Gonna enjoy the weather a little longer. And that's when Michael, the televangelist, pulled in and walked straight up to the door of room 3, Dylan Ross's room. He knocked loudly, loud enough that Perry, next door, poked his head out to see what the noise was. And, no surprise, reporter Casey was out there in just moments, too.
What are you doing here?
Perry called out to Michael.
Oh, great. Look who's back where they don't belong.
Michael clenched his fist just as Dylan opened the door and stepped out. He narrowed his eyes at Perry. "You," he said with this stone-faced anger.
Don't act so high and mighty, Dylan. You know what you did.
Perry shouted back, kind of slurring as if he'd been drinking. A lot. "You mean visit my old friend, who I hadn't seen in a year and missed dearly? My crime was missing someone I cared about? Then send me to fucking jail, Perry, guilty as fucking charged." Michael jumped from cottages and was now staring squarely into Perry's face.
What did you do to Riley?
He pushed them back against the frame of the door.
Last time we seen you, you showed up at the bar, screamed in Riley's face. Next thing you know, they end up dead. Forensics says strangulation, so what's up, Perry? What'd you do? How'd they get from the bar with us to dead in this crummy-ass motel?
Time moved in slow motion as the words hit Perry one by one and they fell to their knees, sobbing.
I'm sorry.
They said between fits of tears and trying not to be sick. That was all Dylan and Michael needed to hear to go after them. Casey caught it all on candid camera. Sharon was up on the roof on her phone calling a friend, calling someone else. I didn't care enough to ask. After all that, a loved life was lost because of a jealous partner. I got in my car, texted Katie that I was taking my weekend early, and started driving towards that mountainous horizon. It's been a long week at the Stellar Motel. Justice is being taken into its own hands, and I think I need some sun in my life. Wow, all that, and I didn't even solve a mystery, guys. This was so freaking funny to listen back to. So when I did the editing and sound designing, I started from the beginning and went to the end, and this took me like several weeks. So by the time I just got to the end now, I completely forgot what happened. And as it turns out, Leni ain't shit. Leni didn't do anything but fucking watch TV and eat chips and look out of her window. That's so funny. But I guess that is how the dice rolls. Thank you so much for joining me for my practice pod of The Stellar Motel by Bannerless Games. I want to give a few shout outs to my friends who helped me with voiceovers. I did play this game entirely by myself, and every character was originally voiced by me. But as I'm sure you heard with the few voices that stayed by me, that I don't have too much range. So big shout outs to Kendo, Sylvia, Zoop, Dusty, Grant, Insha, Sky, Hector. Did I miss anyone? If I missed anyone, I do feel really bad about it, and I will get to you. I'm going to drop all of their handles in the description of this, like for social medias, because thank you so much. You guys are the best. I couldn't have done it without them. And I don't know, this was a very silly, I don't love my character, Leni ain't shit, but I had so much fun playing this game and sound designing and editing for the first time, and I'm just happy to have gotten this practice so that my next podcasts can be better and better and better. Speaking of my next podcast, I have 2 more shows coming out this year on Game Master Monday. My next podcast is 1978. It is a Halloween episode that I am playing with Josephine Kim. And we are very excited to tell that story. And then I have my first mini-series coming out in November. That's going to be called The World We Knew. And it's inspired by one of my favorite poems by Shel Silverstein, Ickle Me, Pickle Me, Tickle Me Too. It's a story about hope and grief and exploration and loss, and that's gonna be my first real big thing. And if you liked this at all, or if you just want to see me get better or listen to me get better, tune in for that in November. Keep following the Game Master Monday podcast, and we will see you next time. Oh, and I think that this was clear, but my name is Taz. I use she, they pronouns, and you can find me on socials at Reader and Rogue. Okay, bye.